Hi, Amanda. These are the IXLs that you requested the video for. We're going to start off with P6. Instead of working directly with IXL, since for some of these I'll need to write down, I just copied some of the questions of each type of level so that we can practice. Now, IXL P6 is pretty straightforward. If it's asking for the ratio of the perimeter of this figure to the next figure, basically you just put the side lengths together. So the ratio for perimeter is equal to the length of side 1 over the length of side 2, which can also be written as a ratio using colons, which is how they want, which is S1 colon S2. So what we do here is we look at the side lengths, and it's 7 to 2. So that's my ratio, 7 to 2. And this goes for any figure that you're given. So like here you have these circles. So the ratio here would be from 6 to 4. So in this case, it would be the ratio of their radius. So 6 to 4. And I tested both answers, 6 to 4 as well as 3 2, which would be the simplified version. And you don't have to simplify. If you put 6 4, you would get the same answer. Like you would get it correct. So same thing here, we have that these two figures are similar, but now what they're asking you to find is the perimeter of the second triangle. So what you can do here is you set up a ratio. We have the ratio of their perimeters is going to be 1 to 2, because I went from 1 to 2. And what you're going to do is you're going to make it equal to the ratio here of these perimeters. So basically, S1 over S2, that's the sides, is going to equal to the ratio of the perimeter 1 to perimeter 2. So perimeter 1 is equal to 3, and perimeter 2 is what I'm trying to solve for. So I'm going to call that X. So what we do is we cross multiply. So 1 times X is equal to 2 times 3, which is 6. So I didn't have to solve for X here, so the perimeter for 2 is 6. We do the same thing here. We have that the ratio is 8 to 4, so 8 over 4 is going to equal to perimeter 1, which is what I'm trying to solve, so I'll call that X, over perimeter 2, which is 10. Now you can choose to simplify this or not, it doesn't matter. So if I just cross multiply, I would get that 4x is equal to 8 times 10, which is 80. Divide by 4, and we get that x is equal to 20. So that would be our perimeter. And this is as hard as it gets. So this is it for P6. Now let's look at P7. P7 is asking if the triangles that are given are similar, and if so, it's going to ask you to write the similarity statement. So here, in order for triangles to be similar, they need to have AA similarity, which means that, remember that AA, that stands for angle, angle. So as long as two of their angles are congruent, these two triangles are going to be congruent. I don't know what this measurement is, but I see that it's one arc here and one arc here, and then I have this 90 degrees and this 90 degrees. So this is AA. So yes, they would be similar. Then you're going to have a little pop-up that's going to ask you to write the similarity statement. So it'll look like this. Triangle, and then it'll have a blank is similar to triangle and then blank. So you can choose to write your triangle starting from wherever, as long as you write the corresponding sides here. So let's say if I start with E and then I go to D and F. If I started with E, that means I started with the 90 degrees and then I went to the arch. So here I would start with T, since I started with the 90 here, and then I go to the arch, which is V, and then U. Over here, we're asked if these two triangles are similar. We have 98 degrees and 52 degrees. And then here I have 98 degrees and 50 degrees. These would have to be equal, but they're not. So this would not be similar. Now you can always, because sometimes they'll try to trick you and they'll give you the two triangles with two angles and you have to determine if they're similar. So what you can do is you can solve for the third angle. By trying to solve for this angle, it would be 98 plus 52 plus angle E is going to equal to 180, since all the angles of a triangle add up to 180. 98 plus 52 is 150. So 150 plus angle E is equal to 180. That means that angle E is equal to 30. So that means that in order for these two triangles here to be similar, angle S would have to be 30, because then we would have 98 and 30. But it's not going to happen because 98 plus 50 does not give you 150. So no, you don't really have to go through this. Just as long as two of these angles are not equal, then no. Here we have 70 and 30, and then 70 and 30. So as long as those two angles are equal, they are going to be similar. So now we have to write their similarity statement. So again, this is what you'll see. Let's say I start with the 70 and I go to the 30 and then to the blank. So RQS. That means that here I would have to start with the 70, go to the 30, and go to the blank. So EFD. Last one here. We have now, instead of angle measurements, we have these arcs here. And this, we have one arc and one arc, so that matches, and then two arcs and two arcs. So these two angles are going to be congruent to these two angles. So yes, they would be similar. And now we write out that similarity statement. So triangle, if I start here with the 2 and then the 1 and then to none, it would be HIG. Would be similar to triangle. Again, I went from 2 to 1 to none, so I have to go from U to S to T. And that's also as hard as it gets for P7. So let's look at P10, which is a little bit more work. This is based on the triangle proportionality theorem. Now what that states is that if you have a triangle within another triangle, see how we have this big one here and then the small one there, that means that the proportion of their sides, as long as these sides here are parallel, would be equal. So what we can do is you don't have to take the entire side, just the part of their side is going to be congruent to the other part that is connected to. So if we're trying to solve for Tx, that's this part here. So I'm going to call that x. I'm going to set up a ratio. I'm going to go from small to big. So 12 to 24 is going to equal to, and then I have to also go small to big. So you have to be consistent. It should be x over 14. Now you don't have to simplify, but I do recommend it because it'll make it easier in the long run. 12 over 24 can be simplified to 1 over 2 is equal to x over 14. And now we cross multiply. So 2 times x is 2x is going to equal to 1 times 14, which is 14. Divide the 2, we get that x is equal to 7. So Tx here is 7. Let's try that again here. We want to find QR. Again, I'm going to call QR here x. Now, I went here small to big, but you can go big to small. It does not matter the order in which you choose as long as you stay consistent with your ratios. So if I go big to small, that's 36 over 18. Is going to equal to big to small, so 44 over x. Now I can simplify this. 36 and 18 can be simplified by 18. So this would be 2 over 1 is going to equal to 44 over x. Cross multiply. 2x is going to equal to 44. Divide the 2. we get that x is equal to 22. And that would be QR, so 22. You can also look at the sides and see how it changed. To go from 18 to 36, I would have to multiply by 2. To get from x to 44, I would have had to multiply x by 2. So I can go backwards. I can take the 44 divided by 2, and that gives me the 22. But if that's difficult, if you can't see those ratios, then you can just always write it out like this, cross multiply, and solve for x. Now these are the harder questions. You have here that we're trying to solve for TU. So I'm calling that x. Now, in order to write out our ratios, I need to know what the measurement of this is. So that way I can go small to big or big to small. Now I know that the entire thing is 66, and this piece here is 44. So what I can do is subtract. 66 minus 44 is 22, because that would give me that smaller piece. See, if I add the 22 plus the 44, that gives me 66, which is the length of the whole thing. So now I'm ready to write out my ratio. Let's say I go small to big. So 22 over 44 is going to equal to small to big, so 18 over x. I can simplify this ratio by 11. 22 divided by 11 is 2, and 44 divided by 11 is 4, which actually I didn't realize I can simplify even more now by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that's this here. And I make that equal to 18 over x. Now that we have that set up, we cross multiply. 1 times x is going to equal to 2 times 18, which is 36. So that would be TU. Yeah, okay. Over here, we have that we're trying to find UV. So again, I'm going to make this equal to x. Here we can set this up. We can go small to big or big to small. Again, that does not matter. I usually like to just go small to big. So I'm going to do 22 over 33 is going to equal to small to big, so 10 over x. 22 over 33 can be simplified by 11. 22 divided by 11 is 2, and 33 divided by 11 is 3. And that's going to equal to 10 over x. Now I cross multiply. So I get 2 times x, which is 2x, is going to equal to 3 times 10, which is 30. Divide the 2 to both sides. I get that x is equal to 15, which is UV. So 15. Now the final level of these IXLs, you have to always pay attention to what it's asking you to find. Here it's asking you to find all of HJ. But first what I need here is I need to know what IJ is equal to. So I'm going to make that equal to x. And now we're going to set up our ratios. So I'm going to go to the side where I have both lengths. So I have the smaller one to the bigger one. So that's 21 over 42. And I make that equal to small to big, so x over 48. 21 and 42 can be simplified by 21. 21 divided by 21 is 1, and 42 divided by 21 is 2. And this equals to x over 48. Now we cross multiply. 2 times x is 2x. Is equal to 1 times 48, which is 48. Divide the 2. We get that x is equal to 24. So that's this part here. But the question is for HJ. So to find HJ, you would have to add 24 plus 48, which when you add them together gives you 72. So this would be the answer. One more like this one, it's asking you to solve for RT, which is this whole thing. So always double check what it's asking you to solve for. In order for me to find RT, I first need ST. So I'm going to call that X. Now I'm going to set up my ratios. So we have 18 and 27. So I'm going to write out 18 over 27 is going to equal to, I went small to big, so small to big, X over 45. 18 and 27 can both be simplified by 9. 18 divided by 9 is 2, and 27 divided by 9 is 3. And this is going to equal to X over 45. Now we cross multiply. 3 times X is 3X is equal to 2 times 45, which is 90. Divide the 3 to both sides, and we get that X is equal to 90 divided by 3, which is 30. So I know what this is now, but again, I need RT. So RT is going to equal to the 45 plus the 30. And 45 plus 30 is equal to 75. So that would be my answer. And those are all of the IXLs.